Okay, we're up to Kuf Vav Amid Aleph. Kuf Vav Amid Aleph. Let's just chazriba what we've seen so far in this parak. You have a base core. What? Yeah, it's nice. What? Yeah, sure, dafim, but we said a base core offer. If a person sells the base core offer, I'm selling to you. If he says mother bechevel, if it says they measure it with ropes, then it's very exact. If they says a little more, a little less, then up to 7.5 kavim, which is a quarter of a kav per saw, 30 saw, and so it's 7.5. We said if a person says stam, we said stam would be same as kibbe offer. It would be also hein chas saying yesterday. You still have the 7.5 kavim. That's what we saw. We saw yesterday that if he uses both lashonis, whether Benana says he typhus lashon rishon and chachamim cholkin alav, and now we're going to have a similar situation where they're standing by a field. It's recognizable, the field, and they say, in this field that's demarcated by these boundaries, I'm selling you a base korafa. Okay. So now, in this field, in this field. So, well, I like the short daf. Yeah.
And then Nana said, we do a tofas lashon sheni. You say lashon rishon.
Lashon achron, correct. Yeah. Lashon achron. I sit corrected. Thank you, Philadelphia boy.
For paying attention.
Yeah. And so the says the Mishnah, you say I'm selling you a base kur offer, b'simanav u'b'meitzarav, with its signs and its boundaries. And in other words, I'm not selling you this field within the boundaries. Within the boundaries of that field, I'm selling you a base kur of offer, right? It's a large area. And pachas mishtutz hikia, if they measured in this area and it was less than a sixth, then what? Then the deal is on. Ad shtus, but at shtus yinake. But if it's until a shtus, then what? Then you would go ahead and have to make a differences. So this is different than what? Than the previous lashon. The previous lashon was pachas v'yoser, right? Pachas v'yoser. Now here we're saying up until the shtus. In other words, this is even being less. Shtus. You have a field, right? And you said within the boundaries of this field, I'm selling you what? I'm selling you a base korafa. Good. Now you measure the field, and you have either a little less than that, a little more than that, than a base core. In the whole field. Now, why is that different than selling them a field stam and say pachas v'yoser? So let's see the Rashbam. Guys. B'siman of meitzarav. Ha'imel chaveiroi. Base core off ani meichel. I'm selling you a base core. B'toich hasimonim v'meitzarim alalu. Within these boundaries. Shata roya hakol kachlecha. Pachas mishtus higia. The hainu tfei miroiva l'sa. This is more than a roiva l'sa. This is actually it's a kav. Kafle kafayim. The shtus hainu kav l'sa. A shtus, again, there are 6 kavim in a sa. So that is a full shtus. And this is as opposed to a quarter, which is, so this is basically 4 times more. But 1/24 will be 6 times 1/24. 1/24 is a quarter. So in other words, this is you're allowing more of what of a shinoi. You're allowing more of a shinoi. The other one is only a quarter amount. This is what a sixth. You're allowing it's in other words a bigger area. Now, not a big area. I mean, you're allowing per saw. You're allowing a kav, right? Yeah, that's a larger amount, a larger margin of error, right? Now, why is that? It's not similar. Lehen chasen yeser. The hasam havishiura beroivelasa. Over there, the shear is not a kav, but it's a roivelasa, a quarter. Aval hacha boitfei. Here you need a bigger discrepancy. The kivin the ama base kur afani meichlecha kein chasa hein yasadami. Kidu kim nilel. Guys, look at me. We had the shiloh the other day. What happens if a guy says stam? I'm selling you this base core offer. I'm selling you. Is it like you said I'm measuring you with a rope and it's exact? Or it's no, I'm giving you a little leeway. And we would price it as I'm giving you a little leeway. So what did he say over here? He goes to a field with meitzarim, and he says, within these meitzarim, I'm selling you a core of what? Of land. So obviously he must be saying something more than a core of lamb by saying the Meitzarim. He's adding on a little more. That's what the Rashbam says. That's the Chiddush over here. Right? And the Kidukim Elbi said that what you'd get that, in other words, Stam base Korafa is already showing Hein Chastav and Yester, right? It's showing that, right? V'hashta the Amma base Kur b'Siman of Meitzar v'Nimaychlecha. Now he's telling, I'm telling you a base core within these boundaries. Matfiyin shiure. He's adding on to the share of discrepancy. Varminon afilu pachas mishtusigia. Even if the discrepancy is less than what the deal is still on. The kivin the heraloy hametzarim, since he showed him the boundaries. Kiman dezav le'sadazu stama dami. Kimayshehu bein katan bein gadol. Ela da'hani my da'ama base core sheyikaru the base core, that it should be close to a base core. Sheinachasa yoysim ishtos. It should be less than a shtos. V'chein d'lei havi moisa yesel shtos. So says the Rashbam, the reason why over here the discrepancy is a sixth and not a quarter is because Stamazai would have been a quarter. Just saying base core offer is a quarter, right? By going ahead and adding in these boundaries, it's a sixth. It's a sixth. Okay, now we said up until. You said less than and more than. What about exactly a sixth? Now be aware, guys, this is not a din of Ainah. Why? Ain't an bekarka. There's no another bekarka. It just happens to be the Chachamim said this amount, but don't get mixed up with what the din of Ainah, where more than less than a sixth in Michael, more than a sixth deal is off. Exactly a sixth the deal is on. You return it. We're not discussing that at all. That's a din in metaltalin. It's not a din what in karka. So there's no din of karka over here. There's nothing to do with karka. It just happens to be. Guys, look where the lines get semi-wide. Go down 3 lines at the end of the line. V'hayshtus lav mishum din oina. The ein oina elam b'lam taltlei. Aval merkakoy ein oina. Shem Michael I shava pruta b'mana. I shava mana b'pruta. Hikia. Then the deal is done. El shiru the rabbanon. This is all the din the rabbanon. The haki Michael inish. A person will go ahead and be Michael. Heichidam b'siman of meitzarav tfei la Michael. He'll be Michael up to a 6, but more than that he won't. That's it. So don't get mixed up in that. Now the Gemara is going to have a shaila. What about exactly a sixth? What about exactly a sixth? You measure the land, and it's pretty much exactly the sixth. So itma Rav Huna Amar shtus. The din of shtus is kapachas mishtus. What does like kapachas mishtus means? What does kapachas shtus means? Meaning like what? The deal is still on. The deal is still on. Rav Yehuda Amar, so you don't have to make any adjustments. Rav Yehuda Amar, no, a shtus is kiyasim shtus, and therefore you have to deduct. If it's more, you have to deduct. You have to make an adjustment. You can't just say keep it the same. So again, exactly a 6. What's the halacha? Exactly a 6. What's the halacha? According to Rav Huna, it's like less, and therefore the deal is still on, no adjustments. According to Rav Yehuda, it's like more. And the deal is what is you have to make the adjustments. That's good? Good. Now, where does each one know the halacha from? They're medayik from the Mishnah. Here's the way you read the Mishnah. Pachas mishtus ushtus b'chal. Less than a shtus, and a shtus, it has the same halacha. Higiyai, the deal is done. Yoisem mishtus, once it's more than that, you knock it, then you have to go ahead and make a deduction. Rav Yehuda is of the opinion, shtus, right? A sixth is like what? Is like more than a sixth, and just like more than a sixth, you make it. You have to make adjustments. So too as well. Hachikamar pachas mishtus higia. Deal is done. Ad shtus ushtus bechlal, up until the shtus and including a shtus, you knock it. Then you have to go ahead and make an adjustment. So again. Machlokes Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda. That's the halacha. Okay. Meisive. B'simanov u'b'meitzarav piches shtus oy hoisa shtus, less than or more than harihu kishum hadayonim. Right? It has the din of shum hadayonim. Okay. What is shum hadayonim? The dayonim, we leave it up to them to go ahead and figure out. You're going ahead and there's you're selling the karka for your soimim to pay for the taking care of the your soimais, right? So if you look at Rashbam B'Ksubas Perika Amon and Zainis Taran Shuma Dayanim Shepichsu Shtus, they blew it up by a shtus, a serious shtus, or too much Machran Bato. Then it's over. The mechir is over. Shema Dayanim Bezdin Shiadu L'Shum Nichse Yisayim. They go down to evaluate the Nechasim of Yisayim L'Machra and to sell him L'Masani Isha V'Abanais. So when the Shema Dayanim, if they blow it, right? If they blow it, now what do they say? It says over here, Piches Mishtus, Ay Haisa Shtus, Ayu Kushema Dayanim. Now, Higia. Now, Higia means what? The deal is done. Now, we're going to have to go back and see what that means. But Shema Dayanim, the Shtus, Shtum of Dayanim of exactly a sixth is Kiyoisa Mishtus. And the deal is off. Like Rav Yehuda, not like Rav Huna. Again, what are we saying, guys? We're going, let's deal with a sixth and more than a sixth, right? Says Rav Huna, a sixth is like less than a sixth. Deal is on. Says Rav Yehuda, a sixth is like more than a sixth, deal off. Shema Dayanim, what's the din? Exactly a sixth, right? Deal is off. You see a raya to Rav Yehuda and a kasha on Rav Huna. You see a raya to Rav Huna, a raya to Rav Yehuda, and a kasha on Rav Yehuda, and a kasha. Says the Gemara. Now, if you look at guys, it doesn't make a lot of sense then. The word higiu makes no sense. If you're telling me that a shtus is like the deal is off, what do you say higiu? Higiu means the deal is done. Good? Says the Gemara. What's the kasha? V'shum dayanim the shtus ki yotzim mishtus hu. Amar Rav Huna lo taimech. Higiu katani. What are you learning higiu? It makes no sense. Higiu means the deal is on. Guys, if it's more than a shtus, the deal should be off. Mekach batel. So therefore, now there's two distinct ways to learn pshat in this Gemara. We're going to take the easier one. We're going to take the easier one. That this has no shaykhis to Rav Yehuda. Because Rav Yehuda would say Yenake, and here it says Higiu. So obviously it's Mishtabeshta. According to Rav Yehuda would learn that this brisa is corrupt. When it says the word Higiu on more than a sixth, it's corrupt. So it's not a kasha on him. The kasha is on Rav Huna. So it says Rav Huna the following. Amalach Rav Huna, Ulatay Mech. According to you guys, listen, that a sixth is more than a sixth and the deal should be off, right? Right? Higiu, Katani. You learn Higiu? What are you learning Higiu for? The deal should be off. Ella, what do you have to say? Kishum hadayonim, v'loy kishum hadayonim. It's Rav Huna speaking, and we're saying that this din in our Mishnah of Simonim is like Shum hadayonim and not like Shum hadayonim. Good? Now, how is it that? Kishum hadayonim, how is it like the case of the Shum hadayonim? Lishtus, regarding a sixth. What does that mean? The shear of a mistake by simonim is the same shear as shumadayonim. Why will you say pachas v'yoser? It's a quarter. It's a quarter of a kav of a saw. It's 7.5 kavim. In other words, we have 3 cases of numbers being off. The first case is where you say, I'm selling you a core for a little bit more, a little bit less. What's the share there? A quarter kav pasa. Good, or 7.5 kav. Good. Now, that's that case. We have our case in our Mishnah, it's a sixth, right? We have the case of Shuma Dayanim, it's a sixth. So Shuma Dayanim, so the Shuma Dayanim is like what? Is like our case. No, our case is like Shuma Dayanim and not like 7.5. The case of Meitzarim Simonim is similar to a little bit more than the less, but it's like Shuma Dayanim. That's what we're saying. So therefore, Ela Kishuma Dayanim v'lo Kishuma Dayanim. Kishuma Dayanim lishtus, that the share of discrepancy that you're allowed up until is a sixth, but not a quarter. But like Kishuma Dayanim, the ilu hasim batal. Over there, the sixth, it's batal. However, v'ilu hacha, but over here, when you say simanim, it's deal is still on. Because Rav Huna holds a sixth is like pachas mi sixth. Okay, guys, let's do this outside. Let's do this outside, and we'll get it clear, very clear. We have a kash like this. We have a Mishnah. Our Mishnah says if a person goes ahead, goes to a certain land, within the parameters of this thing, he says, I'm selling you a base core offer, okay? And it's off by a sixth. A less than a sixth, deal is on. More than a sixth, deal is off. No, it's not deal is off. You just make, you have to make up the difference. Good? Exactly a sixth, says Rav Huna. Exactly the same as in his podcast, says. No adjustment needed. Deal's done. Deal's done. Good? That's different than the case of Pachas V'Yaisa, where it was a quarter. It was a quarter. Right? It was less. So it was more, I should. It was so therefore that, and why? Because here he said more than that. No, he added on because it would have been a regular case, just saying a base core off any that's just the same thing as saying a little more, a little less. So by saying the words and the boundaries, you went ahead and you're saying a little more. You're going ahead and you little bigger deduction. Good. Now, what about a sixth itself? So now we're bringing in Shuma Dayanim. By Shuma Dayanim, if the guy says that lashon, they're going Shuma. Tosefta says if a person goes to a field, says Simon Meitzarav. If it's less than a sixth and more than a sixth, Shuma Dayanim. Good. Now Shuma Dayanim is the shtos has the same din as Yoisam shtos. Now the Shuma Dayanim, if it's more than a shtos, the deal is off. Good. Kasha on Rav Huna, because Rav Huna says a sixth, the deal is still on. Good. And for Rav Huna, you're not reading the Tosefta the correct way. Because it says in the words of the Tosefta, Higio, the deal is still on. But by Shuma Dayanim, if it's a sixth or more than a sixth, the deal should be off. Elawat, it's telling me a din. You know what it's telling me? It's telling me that our Mishnah of Meitzarim, right, is like Dayanim and not like Dayanim. How is it like Dayanim? As opposed to a little bit more, a little bit less, which is a quarter. Here, when you go ahead and add do it Meitzarim, it's a sixth. How is it not like Shuma Dayanim? Because if it's a sixth, Shuma Dayanim, the deal's off, like Yosem Ishtos. But our case is not like that, because even if it's a sixth, our deal is still on. That's a Huna's din. A sixth is like Pachas mi sixth, and therefore the deal is still on. And that's the way you learn shouting these words. Okay, one more time. All right, you got it. Right, you got it. Okay, just one more time. Quickly, one more time. Rav Huna's got a problem. Here, watch my hands. Here's a sixth. Rav Huna says it's the same thing as less than a sixth. If it's less than a sixth, the deal is on. We have Shuma Dayanim saying a sixth is more than a sixth, and the deal is off. So what's the answer? This is like Dayanim and not like Dayanim. It's not like Dayanim that it's a sixth. It's not like Dayanim because Dayanim the deal is finished and this deal is still on. Good, that's it. Okay, weiter. Rav Papa Zavin Arameahu Gavra. Rav Papa, he went ahead and he bought a piece of land from an individual. Amalei have a esrin grivi. He said there's a esrim grivi. There's 20 saw. You know, you have 20 saw of agrable field here over here. However, Mashre, they went ahead and they measured it. Ella and it was only 15. In other words, they were off by a quarter. So Asla Kamei, so Papa, the rich man, took this guy to din in front of Abaya, and Amalei Abaya told her, Papa, Sarvis v'kabilta. Guess what? It's yours. No, Papa, the deal's finished. There's no going back on the deal. Ay vatnan pachas mishtus hegia ad shtus yinake. Ad shtus, the deal, you have to make adjustments. So this what is a quarter, you should make adjustments. Says Mahani Mili, when do you say that? That's where you don't know anything about the field. But where you do know the field, and you, Papa, knew this field, you knew it wasn't 20, and therefore you accepted upon yourself. Read the Gemara, so Papa told Abaya Esrin Amali, he told me Esrim, so I thought that he wants to make good. So Amalei, so Abaya told Papa, the Adifa ke Esrim. You know what he's telling you? Even though it's only 15, it's such good quality, it's like 20. In other words, he wasn't giving you the fudge. He wasn't giving you the fudge. He was telling you the din.
The fact that Papa came to a buyer with a time, that doesn't obviously show that he wasn't aware of it. Because he's not trying to fool somebody. He thinks, I'm aware of it, but I'm just.
No, he said 20. No, you're right. But why? Then what? He's coming. Then why did he say 20? Had he just bought the field, Stamazai? But why did he say 20? And as that he's coming based upon the koyach of that guy adding 20. The fact that guy, in other words, you know,
Papa's coming to a buyer with that time.
Right.
And Abaye's answer.
And Abaye's answer is, listen, when do you say that this din of pakos, right, is that when the guy doesn't know the field, but you knew this field. So Reb Pai said, I knew the field, but the guy said 20. Why did he say 20? You're not got to take into account. The guy said 20. What's he doing with the 20? In other words, you're right. So I knew the field. I knew it's 15. But he told me 20. Epis, I'm entitled to something. I'm entitled not to 5 more. So, because there's words. He did say words, though. Enachinami. And about by his time is no. You know why? Because we could touch up what did he meant, right? Quality. Okay, now the next piece of Gemara has nothing whatsoever to do with what we've done until now. Don't go back in the water. It's just we're gonna bring in a similar machlokes between Rav and Shmuel and the previous Gemara. But so you have to wait. I'll probably do it. I'll probably do it today. I'll probably do it today anyway. Anyway, so says the Gemara. Tanya Rav Yossi Yomer. Ha'achin shechalku.
Getting ready for your snow.
Yeah, so you have brothers. They divide. They divide it up. Even she'ala goyrel le'echad. Once the goyrel, in other words, they drew lots at to which piece of parcel of land would go to which brother. Once, that's it. In the case of 2 brothers, once one gets it, kana kulam. Automatically, the deal is off. There's no going back. The other guy gets his field also. And if it's 3, it's the same thing. Once, in other words, if it's 3 brothers, one guy pulls out, it's his. Then the other 2 people, they're going to deal with those two things. But it's done. Look at Rashbam. Kana kulam Rashbam. Klaimar. Zeh kana legamri begoyrel lo yochlu lachseboy. V'mheim shnayim. If they're 2, zeh kana chelko shenafel olav hagoyrel. V'gam chaveri kana. Dalmi yipol hagoyrel sheni. Kiyam al sheni. V'm gimel. And if there's 3 brothers, Oisa shenafel hagoyrel kana chelkoi. There's one that got his thing through the goyrel gets his. Vashnayim, the 2 remaining brothers, kanu ben shnayim shnei achalokim. They're kind of the other 2. Lachlik beinayim to divide between them. Kol shosh yirtzu whenever they want. Af lachlik beinyan acher. V'yakach yiplu goreis. Even to divide them afterwards. Al yidei goyrel. Umiyu heichad enafel goyrel lekulon. Pshita the kind of kulon. Okay. Anyway, so the l'chol hapachas. So goyrel is a kinyan. So the Gemara has a problem with that. We're going to see that Eretz Yisrael was divided al yidei goyrel. What happened in Eretz Yisrael was you had Elazar and Urim B'tumim. You had a box, and they had different parcels of land. He would go, he would pick it out, and the Urim B'tumim would announce the shevet. It fell to and Alpi, it spoke. It's Alpi Agaril. The Gemara says it spoke. Okay, yeah. You had to trust the Gairil. You had to trust the Gairil because the land was divided away. I do remember something very, very similar, very interesting. Bnei Yisrael, they march into Eretz Yisrael, they go ahead and they destroy the strongest city in Eretz Yisrael. Right? They marched on Yericho. Yericho was the strongest city, and they destroy it. Next is Ai. Piece of cake, 3,000, and they lose. Why? Because someone took from the spoils of Yericho. There was a person, Achan, he took from the spoils of Yericho, right? He took a shinner, about Babylonian shinner. He took some type of belt. He took, and they tried to figure out who it was, and all Kal Yisrael. And using Gairolos, they came up with it was him. Now, every Gairo has a flaw. There's got to be a loser. So you have 2 people. Let's say you have 2 tzaddik. You have Moshe and Aaron. And you go ahead, you put the Gairo between Moshe and Aaron. It's going to fall on one of them. So how can you come upon with a Gairo? So Yeshua said, please be minded to the Gairo, because all of Eretz Yisrael is contingent upon that they believe in the Gairo that this is your chelik. And Achan admitted the truth. And he admitted the Gairo was right. So the Gairo was very, very important, intricate in going ahead and deciding who got what. So now here's the Gemara saying you're using a Gairo. So says the Gemara the following. You're telling me that you're coming with a Gairo, right? So Amar Rabbi Laza, it might kind of cool. My time Amar Rabbi Laza, Tchilas Eretz Yisrael. Mat Tchilas Gairo, just like Eretz Yisrael initially was divided. They Gairo, Avkam beGairo. I'll say imal halon bekalpi v'orim v'tumim. Avkan bekalpi v'orim v'tumim. There you had kalpi was the box that held the different parcels of land, and you asked the orim v'tumim. Avkan. In other words, it has to be similar to that. So Amar Rav Ashi says Rav Ashi, it is similar to that. Doesn't Rashbam learns it's not answering a kasha. He's saying it doesn't say Ella. It doesn't say Ella. It's no charata. Rav Ashi is saying it has the same mila. Since they listen to each other, Gamri umakli hadadi, they're concluding and going ahead and saying, I'm giving it over to somebody else. We know a person is able to go ahead and with get a certain hana that you'll believe me, right? When Isha, it was Mukudeshes, the certain hana she's Mukudeshes, even though she's not getting Shava Pruta. The hana is worth a Shava Pruta. So this is the fact that you're going through Makna. If you look at Amar Avashi, Loyum Kitchilas Eretz Yisrael Kona Gairel, with the Kashlach, Imala Halon, all right, Urim V'Tumim, Hainu Taimad, Leit Sarach Kulehai, you don't need the Urim V'Tumim, Mishum Degami Bilvavam Shalem, Belev of Shalem, they all go ahead, at the first wide line, they all go ahead and conclude, Umakni Lemisha Yala Gairel Miyad, and whoever gets it, immediately the Makna, Mahani Gama Daitam, Ema Gairel, Urim V'Tumim, they're just like they admit to Urim V'Tumim, these people are agreeing to it, the Mahani, I feel like Gomer Makni. If I hear no, it's Saisla Dodi, they'll listen to each other. V'nishmoyin zel zel lachlik begoyrel. K'dei sheyitel kolechet chelkoi b'fi atzmai. The einer chafetzim oy b'shutfis. They don't want a shutfis. They're finished with this. So in other words, I want this division badly. And if this is the way we chose to divide, this is the way we chose to divide. So be it. And therefore the kinyan works. Just like Urim V'Tumim. We have no choice. That's the way it works. So he's learning the Rashbam. Rav Ashi's teretz is what? Yes, it's the same thing as what is the Urim V'Tumim. You had no choice. And here they agree to it. They makna each other, and therefore the deal is done. That's the okay. That has nothing to do with our Gemara, and the reason we're going to bring it in is the next Gemara. Itmar Shnei Achim Shechalku. So you had two brothers. Everything was fine and dandy. They were great. Two brothers, they grew up together, they were very happy together. Ubola and Achim of Dinas Hayam. Hello. Shows up another brother from overseas. And now they're ready to divide the estate. This guy comes with his DNA test. He looks just like the brothers. And Shine, guess what? We can't divide it 2 ways. We got to divide it 3 ways.
These stories only happen when there's money in the family.
What?
Poor people never have this problem. They never show up.
As Penny breaks it out. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, poor people never show up, by the way. Oh, by the way, bum, bum, bum. No, you never hear that.
Wow.
Did anyone ever hear his voice before?
It was just like a screensaver.
Okay, anyway, so he shows up. What's the din? Do you keep the existing chalukah and each one deducts from what they have, or do you just redo it? Machlokes Rav and Shmuel. Says the Gemara, Rav Amar batla machlokes. Rav says their chalukah of the two is batal, and now they redo it and they do it to redo it. Ushmuel Amar mikamatzin. Guys, some lashon of kaimitz. What's a kaimitz? You take from an existing thing. So over here also you're going to take from. You don't redo it. Let's say there were 2 brothers and they divided up 3 fields, right? So they had 1.5, 1.5. Now each one's going to give a half, and now each one's going to have 3 fields. Okay. So Amalei Rav or Rav Nachman, L'Rav the Amri. But when I say 1.5, I don't know. 3 fields. Okay. Anyway, yeah, each one got a half, right? 1.5. I'm sorry. Okay. So Amalei Rav Rav Nachman, like the expansion draft, right? Penny, like the expansion draft. Amalei Rava the Rav Nachman says Rava to Rav Nachman L'Rav the Amar Batla Machlokes Alma Hadadina, meaning that you go ahead and redo the din, right? Alma, what do you see? That you redo the din. Okay. Now here's the problem. Elamiata Hani Beit Tilsa Dekaima. You have 3 people. They have a shutfis together. The Oslu Beit Trey Minayu. 2 of them go to Bezdin without the third party. Upal Alog. And they go ahead and divide up the 3 chalakim. Now, all 3 chalakim are equal. We're speaking about, they're all equal. No one's getting any worse for wear. They're all equal. So, hachanami, you're going to say the batla machlokes. Of course, you're not going to say that. So what's the difference over here? Why over here, where you have two brothers and the third shows up, Rav says batla machlokes, and we have three people in a shutfis, we don't say that. It says what's not comparable at all? Hasam nachisa daita debate tilsam ekara. There they divided up initially from the initial point. They divided up three. They never divided up two. They always divided up three because they had a third party there all along. But hacha, when they first divided up two, when they divided it up two, they didn't divide it up into three. So in other words, guys, if you had three shutfin, two go to court, they're dividing it up with three in mind. That makes sense because there are three people. Over here, when we divided it up, that wasn't the real din. We divided up two, but there was a third party, so it was like a toys, and therefore it's off. Amalera Papal Abaya, Lishmuel da Amri Mekamsin, late Shmuel, who says the opinion that each brother takes a little bit from themselves and gives it to the what? The third brother, Lamema Dekum Dina, meaning that the din is a din, and we're not going to go back on a din. I Rabu Shmuel Damit Shavayu. Now, if this sounds familiar, we just had it. We have Rav and Shmuel. They both said, "Kur b'shloishim ani meichlecha." A core with 30, I'm selling to you. But that's important, right? I'm selling you a core for shloishim. Yachalaksaboy afilu b'sach reina. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 29. As long as you don't get to 30, you can go ahead and change your mind. You can change your mind. Now, what? Both sides. So l'chayra, this is going to be the problem with Shmuel. Why don't we say over here, each time it's done, the din is done, and you're not going to revert the din. However, then each one is counting as a separate sa, rishon kana. So the kasha, guys, is from the first case where you said kar shloishim, you're able to go ahead and be mevatel each one along the way. Why are you able to mevatel it? According to Shmuel, you should not be able to. You should, whatever is done is done. Yet we say it's not done. And for the Gemara, Hasam over there by Mechira, Avi Rabban and Milsa the Nichalei L'Maichev and Nichalei L'Keach. Now, really, the deal should be done, and each time you give it, it should be finished. But the Meicher is happy that the deal shouldn't be done. Let's say it goes up in price, and now he can go back in the deal. So like Keach, maybe it's going to go what? It's going to go down in price, right? So everyone, then he would go ahead and go back on the deal. So therefore, the Chachamim said over there, keep it, let the din not that's the original psak, that the din should not be finished. Masha'en came where you have three brothers, and there's no svara to say that three shutfin, the three brothers, and you don't know about the brother, and they divide it up. There's no svara to say that that they shouldn't be happy with that. I don't know.